Okay, so it's day 59 housed. It is Monday, October the 13th, 2025, and I believe this is the fifth video. I've just been recounting just the experience. So I'm just doing a response video to the experience that occurred, or that I had yesterday, going to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. So I was living with them at their place until, oh goodness, it was mid-August, and so now it's approaching on mid-October. So I've only seen him, I think, once or twice, maybe two times since I moved, and we live in the same the same community, the same small town. But anyway, so the last video I was talking about, so my younger sister and her husbands, my brother-in-law, and their children arrived, and I just mentioned briefly that. My brother-in-law, there's an unspoken thing between us, and it seems to be overlooked and just ignored by pretty much everybody. But there has been one time when my older sister, she mentioned that she noted that there's seems to be like a distance between us, and it just seems to be like a taboo thing that nobody wants to talk about, and it never gets addressed. And what I will share about this is I remember, so when I had my own place on the other side of town. I remember I was hosting a Christmas dinner, and the one year, and this is so when my now brother-in-law was dating my my younger sister. So this is, we're say, about 10 years ago, um, perhaps 11 years ago, or 12 years ago. But I recall a time, so I was hosting, I was at my house, and my brother-in-law and my father were, well, then it was my little sister's boyfriend and my father were talking in my living room. And I went in to get drink orders, and I made a joke about something, and then my dad got really offended, and then he made fun of me in front of my little sister's boyfriend. This is something that I noted he used to do to me all the time growing up. If he felt uncomfortable, he's one of those personalities when he feels uncomfortable, he's got certain people that he likes to bully and he likes to dominate, and then he'll make really cruel jokes at their expense. And he's got that posture of what are you going to do about it? I find my father to be very weak. Like physically, I don't think he's ever been in a fight in his life, and also mentally and spiritually, I find mentally he puts on he loves the applause from the people around him. He seems to be very good at like with what he knows, and to be very thorough with the knowledge and the understanding that he has. But he also seems to be very insecure, so he becomes very quiet around certain personalities, and he'll keep the conversations like in an area or a realm that he can control. And then he gets very angry and frustrated and mad, usually behind closed doors, if he feels like somebody is trying to outdo him or this or that. And oftentimes I find it's just his own insecurities that make him believe that other people are trying to outdo him, where I'm certain there's cases where that is the case. But also I find him to be very like spiritually, I don't see him as a man that has deep levels of understanding with the Holy Scripture. He's read the Holy Scriptures the entirety of his life, but I find him to be very prideful. And so he cares more about like his position of teaching the Holy Scriptures. And I've just seen that he gets very angry at people when they ask him questions that he doesn't know the answer to. And then he can become very vindictive and aggressive and lash out at people. So this is something that's not abnormal, but it's something that I noted that the moment he did that, I remember at the time, it'd be my little sister's boyfriend. He was kind of like looking at me, then looking at my dad, then looking at me, like it was like he was watching like a cinema, and he was thinking, okay, the suspense is building. What's going to happen next? I didn't know what to do. In all honesty, I want to say, you can't talk to me this way at my house. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is completely disrespectful, and you do this all the time. And then it was like, okay, God, I don't know what to do. So I left. I went into a bedroom and I prayed. And then I said, Father, please, like, reveal to me what you'd have me to do in this situation. No one's ever taught me how to deal with an unruly parent or a parent that provokes their children. Anyways, but from that point forward, I noted that, um, well, now my brother-in-law, he doesn't treat me with respect, but that's been modeled. Like he's adopted that behavior from my father, although he's accountable for his own actions. I find him to be a very disrespectful young man, and very he's got like a superiority, like he is very his mind is very focused on money and finances. And if you make good money and you have a nice house and you have a nice vehicle, he shows you a lot of respect. If you lack good money, he treats you like you're inferior. So he serves he just serves the spirit of mammon, and unapologetically. And he's also very. I find him to be a very insecure person, but he um, covers that up by staying in his own comfort zone and by being very forceful and dominating and domineering with his conversation. So, anyways, that's just where like that part of his personality. That's personality that's over him. There's a different spirit over him as well, but um, but regardless, this is just one of many things. And I just shared all that to provide like a framework to virtually state and to let it be known that this is not abnormal behavior. He actually doesn't speak to me at all. And I'll touch base on that now. I remember last Thanksgiving, him and his wife, so my younger sister, they hosted Thanksgiving at their beautiful house, and um, they do a wonderful job of cooking. And goodness, like it's a beautiful meal. But I want to talk about so his favorite hockey team is the Montreal Canadiens, and I want to talk about this Lane Hudson. I could see the potential in this young man. He's a Montreal Canadian defenseman, and I remember thinking he's similar to like a Quinn Hughes, um, and the Montreal Canadiens have a lot of like young talent that they're developing. And I really want to talk with him about I really like talking about hockey, but I notice like when I bring anything up to him, he just gives me short answers and he's very firm on letting me know I don't like you and I'm only going to treat you with the bare minimal amount of respect that I need to treat you that will keep me in good graces with your parents. And your parents don't seem to have that high of an opinion of you either, and that allows me to just you know act this way without any consequences. So that's that's revelatory of his. He's just a young man that has no character. Doesn't mean he won't have character in the future, but right now he doesn't have character, and he's not really somebody that I see as again he just reminds me more of like a schoolyard bully, but I also don't see him as a physical threat. Um, I see him as like one of like the sporty guys growing up that you know barks a lot, but he's probably never been in a fight in his life either. And I don't say this to demean anybody, and I definitely don't say this to promote violence or promote fighting, but I do say this to just bring to the surface a reality or an actuality of there's certain people that they're kind of like a dog that has a big bark in order to keep other people away, but that dog is not it wouldn't be able to back up its bark. I just want to be honest. I don't see this man as I see him as somebody who cares more about fueling his image than the existence that occurs within him. And so, anyways, but that's just where he's at. And so that's part of the dynamic, unfortunately, that we have. So when he comes in, I'll go out of my way to say hi to him, to be polite to him, and I'd love to spark conversation. I'd love to have a good rapport with him, but we don't have one as of yet. So it'd have to be established, and then it would have to be built upon. But it's also bi-directional. It has to be a two-way street. And so when he came in, I said hello to him. He doesn't say hi back. Perhaps he heard me, perhaps he didn't hear me, but he just spends time, whatever room I'm in. If you pay close attention, he'll literally get up and move to the other room, and he uses my nephew or my niece as an excuse. So it's not a good dynamic, and it like these issues are never addressed, and I think that is the most tragic thing about it. There's comfort, unfortunately, with humoring certain people and tolerating certain people, but for the person who's being humored and tolerated, oh goodness, you just think, I don't need to be here. This is just not a good harmonious relationship, and if you don't love me, that's okay. I can be around people that do love me. But anyways, let's move on to the next video.